Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the live in-person and live Zoom worship service of the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside. Our opening hymn this morning is Morning Has Broken, number 38 from the Gray Hymnal. Please feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you, and stand in body or spirit and join us in singing the hymn, Morning Has Broken.
Morning has broken like the first morning, blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rains do fall, solid from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the white cotton, strong in completeness when God's deep has. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, evening's on play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Thank you for joining us here in person, and thank you for joining us remotely by Zoom, where we will continue live streaming and posting these services on our YouTube channel for our virtual attendees. I'm Grace Preuss, a member of the Worship Committee, and I will be your worship associate today. Other members of the Worship Committee you will hear from include Bill Casey, who will be reading our sermon today, Alec Peck, our music coordinator, who is also filling in for Adam Wedeking, and he will be monitoring our visual and online connections, and Kate Lewicki, who is in charge of our sound system. We welcome you to join us this morning with an open mind and an open heart, and with muted electronic devices, please. We invite you to leave your worries and defenses at the door, and trust that what happens in worship is inspiring and powerful. Together, we affirm that this day and our being together can make each of us braver, more compassionate, and wiser as we begin a new day and a new week. On April 3rd, the California Department of Public Health ended masking and vaccination requirements in high-risk settings. However, we encourage you to exercise personal choice on this matter according to your own judgment. Before we move into the service, there are a few announcements we would like to share. We will mention several websites, email addresses, and phone numbers. At the end of the service, we will leave up a slide with all of this information, and it is also available on our website. The service/silent auction closes today. Please check out the items and services offered in the parish hall after the service. Some of the items included are craft classes and 3 months of baked goods from our baker, Dinah Rowe. Family barbecue. We invite you to kick off the summer at the family barbecue tomorrow on Memorial Day, Monday, May 29th at 3 p.m. It will be held in the lawn area over here between the church and the annex. Ticket prices are as follows: $25 for adults, $12 for children ages 6 to 12, and ages 5 and under are free. Please see Kate Lewicki if you would like to help out or bring something to the meal. First Sunday luncheon. June's Sunday luncheon will be held on June 11th between the service and the congregational meeting. The theme will be sandwiches. Once again, that's on Sunday, June 11th, before the congregational meeting. Flower ceremony. Next Sunday, June 4th, will be the 100th anniversary of the annual flower ceremony. We invite you to join us in this celebration. And if you could, please bring flowers, preferably from your garden, to share with our community. This concludes today's announcement. And now I invite you to sit back and take a slow, deep breath as we move into the worship hour. You are welcome to read with me the mission statement of our church. Our mission is to foster a diverse religious community that celebrates life, affirms the individual, encourages spiritual growth and open thought, and works to advance social justice and environmental sustainability. Today's sermon was written by Reverend Catherine M. Bowers. Reverend Catherine M. Bowers was ordained in 1991 and served in the religious education and parish ministry at the Fallen Universalist Unitarian Church in Lexington, Massachusetts. She obtained her Master's of Divinity from Harvard Divinity School in 1991. Our sermon today is entitled Work and Rest, the rhythm of our lives. Our first principle, the inherent worth and value of every person, means that our ultimate value comes with the simple fact of our being. It is tied to who we are and not to what we do. We can agree that work is good and healthy for human beings, but is our worth as human beings directly linked to the quality and quantity of what we accomplish? It has been said, your life is more than your work, and your work is more than your life. Today, we contemplate the value of both work and rest in our lives, and how we can balance the time for simply being with the time for doing. We have two lightings of sacred flames. The first is the occupied Indigenous Peoples Remembrance Candle. The second is the lighting of our own chalice, the symbol of our faith. We walk upon the traditional territories of diverse and sovereign peoples, the original people of this land, who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. This spot we occupy was first the sacred space of several groups of Indigenous peoples, including the Cahuilla, the Cupeño, and the Serrano. We, the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside, light this sacred flame as the stewards of this sacred and holy place. We are blessed with a space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to be part of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. Today's reading for the chalice lighting is We Gather by Christine Robinson. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life that we share together. Thank you, Bill. Greeting our guests. We have a tradition at UUCR to welcome those who are visitors or perhaps returning after some time away. We know it can be uncomfortable to stand up and speak in front of others, and so now I will ask for a volunteer from someone who has been here a while to tell us your name and how you found out about our church. We ask you to step close to the mic in front of the pulpit and speak into it directly and clearly so that everyone can hear. However, please be aware that you will be visible on our Zoom camera and in the recording of this service, which is posted online. Do we have any church members who'd like to volunteer this morning? Alec, thank you. Please step forward to the mic, tell us your name, how long you've been here, and how you found out about our church.
Alec, good morning. My name is Alec Peck. I have been coming here for about 3 years, which is when I moved here to start going to school here in Riverside. And I've been a lifelong UU because I really like the principles. I think they really speak to me about what it means to be a good person. And I love the free and open search for truth to go and explore what's out there and what rings true to me and get to decide that for myself. And that's been really wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Alec. And that's how it's done. So if you are new here, a visitor, or an old friend, please raise your hand to stand and come up to the mic in front of the pulpit. Do we have anyone who'd like to introduce themselves? Good morning.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angela. I'm here because I wanted to reconnect with my UU faith. I grew up in the Monte Vista Unitarian Church in Montclair, and I also have been part of like the young adult group in the San Diego Church, and now I'm back in this area, well, in Ontario. So I wanted to check out the church, and yeah, I'm just looking to like reconnect with my faith, and yeah, also my mom like used to organize like partner churches in the Philippines. So that's like also something I'm interested in like exploring in the future. But yeah, it's good to be here and like nice to see everyone. Yeah, I think that's all.
We're glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you for visiting. Is there anyone else in the audience who'd like to introduce themselves? No, no takers. Okay. Okay. Adam's on Zoom, I think.
Yes.
Okay. Adam, you have something for us? Morning, Adam.
Morning. Morning.
Morning.
Bonnie and I are driving through Colorado. We just wanted to say good morning.
Just past Vail.
I have been the Rocky Mountains. Hope everyone is doing good in Riverside. Just want you guys to see where we are. We take off, Mike.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Adam and Bonnie. Hope you have a safe trip.
Yeah, have a good weekend.
So for those of you who don't know, Bonnie is a very active and regular member of our church who is relocating to Michigan right now. And Adam, he's also an active member of our church, is driving her out there. So
And Vail is beautiful.
yes, they're in Colorado. Very nice. Okay, is there anyone else on Zoom who'd like to introduce themselves? No? Okay. For any other new guests, please join us for socializing and coffee hour after the service. We'd love to chat with you out in the parish hall where you can also find our visitors book. Please leave your name before you leave so that we know you are here, and leave your contact information if you'd like to know about upcoming events. For those online, the best way to get added to the mailing list is to email the church office at admin@uuchurchofriverside.org. Our hymn now is We'll Build the Land. So there's no number here, but we'll Build the Land, number 121 from the Gray Hymnal. Please feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you, and stand in body or spirit and join us in singing 121, We'll Build a Land.
We'll build a land where we find the once faint and once weak, we're like oaks of righteousness, stand her people. Oh, come build the land, my people we seek. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
Sharing our stewardship. Today is the last Sunday of the month where we hold our monthly 50-50 donation for a worthy organization. I believe this month we are still contributing to the maintenance fund of the church. This fund is for the upkeep of our church. As it ages, it gets more and more necessary to make different types of maintenance work. So please give to our 50-50 donation this month. This portion of our service is to support our beloved historical church. This can be done in several ways. In addition to the weekly collection, you may send your checks to the church address, which is shown here. You may also contribute by PayPal using the QR code, which is shown here, as well as on the church website and in the newsletter. Stater Brothers Market gives our church a rebate on Stater grocery cards, which we will have in church each Sunday. Amazon gift cards are also now available. You'll get the full value and the church receives a percentage for free. So it's a very worthy cause. Please see Dinah Rowe or contact our administrator, Robert Braun, in the church office during the week in order to purchase these cards. Please donate as the Spirit moves you by whatever method works best for you. Thank you for your generosity. And to those who give of their time and their talent, thank you for your generous care and attention. Will our ushers now please come forth to receive the collection? I believe we're also collecting perishable food and hygiene products for those who've brought it. So thanks again for your generosity. Our next hymn is number 402, From You I Receive, from the Gray Hymnal. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you, and stand in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 402, From You I Receive.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, from this we live. From you I receive, to
Our meditation today is by William Henry Channing. To live content with small means, to seek elegance rather than luxury, and refinement rather than fashion, to be worthy, not respectable, and wealthy, not rich, to study hard, think quietly, talk gently, act frankly, to listen to stars and birds, to babes and sages with open heart, to bear all cheerfully, do all bravely, await occasions, hurry never, to let the spiritual, unbidden, and unconscious grow up through the common. This is to be our symphony. Now let us pause for a moment of silence and reflection. Now I would like to introduce Bill Casey, who will be reading to us the sermon Work and Rest, the Rhythm of Our Lives. These are the words written by Reverend Catherine M. Bowers. Please note that the sermon does not necessarily reflect the views of the reader. Bill?
According to economist Juliet Schor, author of The Overworked American, having the chance to spend time not doing anything in particular is less common than it used to be. In her book, Schor documents the increase of time spent working, both paid employment and work around the house over a 20-year period. She estimates that between 1969 and 1987, the amount of time per year on an average employed person spent on the job went up 163 hours, or the equivalent of 1 month of full-time work. The total amount of time spent on housework remained constant. So if we feel that our time is more squeezed, that we're spending more and more time working on our lists and less time on leisure activities, there's good reason for it. It's ironic that this decline in leisure time came on the heels of revolutions in technology that were expected to provide us with more of free time than any society had ever known. In the 1950s, experts were predicting that the 4-day work week was soon to come, and that by the early 1990s, we'd have either a 22-hour work week, a 6-month work year, or standard retirement age of 38. Don't see any of them out in this audience, still working. Rather than that hasn't happened. Rather than using the time we save through technology for leisure activities, we use it to get more work done. Schor claims in the last 40 years, we could have cut our work time in half without any decline in productivity. But instead of increasing our free time, we've actually reduced it. So what is this national disease that causes us to work harder and harder the more time we save? Clearly, the issues of work and overwork, vacation and leisure time, have many dimensions: economic, political, social. The fact that some people work 60 hours a week means that others do not work at all. Overwork and unemployment are closely linked. Some of us work extra jobs because that's what it takes to make ends meet, or we work overtime because that's what it takes to keep the job. Others who ostensibly have more freedom to keep their own schedules, they just don't manage to take the vacation time that they have coming to them. While the overwork disease displays itself in individual cases, it is at its root a cultural phenomenon. As the Utni reader put it, our growing time crunch is too often portrayed as a personal dilemma rather than the social problem it is. Shore and other people have suggested several public policy remedies for this time crunch: shorter work weeks, more vacation time, longer maternity leaves, and time off to care for sick family members. These remedies sound good, but I don't think they reflect our deep-seated attitudes towards work and rest. And until we can make sense of and begin to address these underlying attitudes, public policy changes just won't stick. One of the primary reasons for overwork is the work ethic that operates in this country. The work ethic perverts the simple idea that work is good and healthy for human beings to the notion that our worth as human beings is directly linked to the quality and quantity of what we accomplish, and that we are what we do. Most of us could probably articulate reasons we don't agree with that notion, but I think that it'll take more active attention on our part to exercise that completely, because the idea has deep roots in our spiritual and psychological past. Juliet Shore says that the work ethic is mostly a Northeastern Christian bourgeois middle and upper class ethic, and also tends to be slightly more male ideology. In our American culture, this work ethic is concentrated where most of the power in society resides. Hence, it's no coincidence that the work ethic of people in positions of power, both in business and in government, has become the work ethic, or at least the behavior of that has been adopted by everyone else in order to keep up and fit in. Many Unitarian Universalists are a part of this. A quick step off character. Most of you in your working life are working more than 40, right? That seems to be fairly common. Going on with it. But at any rate, it's no coincidence that the work ethic of people in positions of power in business and government have become the work ethic, or at least the behavior, adopted by everyone else in order to keep up and fit in. Many Unitarian Universalists are a part of this dominant social power group, and their ways of thinking have had a disproportionate influence in shaping the values of society. In a way, we've held our culture hostage to exacting standards of how much we should work. The decisions that we make about work are deeply personal and even spiritual decisions. They're also the foundation of the decisions that get made in the public realm. I'd want to say more about the spiritual roots of the work ethic legacy and the implications that it has for UU theology and our sense of who we are in the world. Now, many UUs, as well as the Unitarian Universalist religious movement, came from a Protestant background. Our earliest religious forebears of the country were followers of the Reformation theologian John Calvin. This I did not know. Calvin's theology included a doctrine known as double predestination, the notion that the ultimate fate of all souls, whether they would go on to heaven or to hell, has been determined by God at the beginning of time. Nothing that anyone did in his or her lifetime could alter that fate. This was not real comforting, not a comforting theological position. In fact, it was so uncomfortable that it began to be perverted with the idea that God would favor the elect, those going to heaven, by giving them worldly success in this lifetime. Well, naturally, everyone wanted to believe that he or she is among the elect. So the Calvinists worked very hard to prove this. By their successes, they worked hard to prove by their successes that they were indeed destined for heavenly glory. Calvin's original fatalistic doctrine was turned on his head as his spiritual descendants wrestled with how to live under its judgment. There was a subtle shift from the idea that human effort had no effect on God's plan to the idea that human effort, if it produced good results, could be taken as a sign of God's plan. Hence, the connection was made deep in our spiritual history between a person's essential worthiness and his or her productivity. In Calvin's theology, every person's ultimate fate was open to question. Everyone's confronted with the existential dilemma: how can I prove that I deserve to live? When the alternatives are eternal blessedness or eternal damnation, it kind of makes sense to spend as much time as possible accumulating proof on the side of blessedness, which in the case of the Calvinists meant working and succeeding. No pressure there, right? The strict Calvinist theology has long since been discarded in UUism, first by the Universalists and then by the Unitarians. In fact, one of the criticisms leveled against the early Universalists, who argued that a loving God would ultimately save all people, was that without the need to earn one's way into heaven, there would be no incentive for good deeds or hard work. We now affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Inherent worth means that our ultimate value comes with the simple fact of our being, our existence. It's tied to who we are and not what we do. Even though we've dropped the old theology, I think the insidious connection between self-worth and productivity has remained, instilled somewhere subconsciously. We're not even thinking about this stuff up front. In the theology we use articulate, we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person. But in our subconscious theology, where Calvinism and guilt lingers, we have our doubts. What's inherently worthy about me? We wonder. And sometimes what's inherently worthy about her. Then we're tempted to show through tasks that we accomplish that we're indeed worthwhile human beings. The problem is that this path doesn't do justice to either our work or ourselves. Her husband Catherine's husband used to say, your life is worth more than your work, and your work is more than your life. Actually, let me change that. I misspoke. Your life is more than your work, and your work is more than your life. The poet Marge Piercy describes work where people submerge in the task, work in a row and pass the bags along, move in a common rhythm, doing the thing worth doing. Well done. We're part of something much larger than ourselves that transcends our individual personal need for reassurance that we're worthwhile people. Work is worthy and good in and of itself. It's not a means to justify our existence. This is not to say we shouldn't be recognized, appreciated, and compensated for the work that we do. But the value of the work itself is not honored when we use it to convince ourselves and others that we're okay. Now, on the other hand, no matter how satisfying and consuming our work is, We have a being aside from that work, and we need to take the time to keep in touch with that being. I like this particular one, this story. It's a story about an explorer in South America who's traveling madly from one end of the side of the continent to the other. The upper part of South America is a pretty big place. But he's getting up before dawn each day, charging along with his crew until sundown or later. One morning, his porters failed to appear. Nobody's going anywhere if the bags aren't being carried. And so he goes to look for them, and the explorer finds them all seated under a tree, doing nothing in particular, looking like they're settled in for the day. And he asked for he wanted an explanation. And one of the porters replied, "We have traveled far and we have traveled fast. Now we must allow time for our souls to catch up with our bodies." I like that a lot, and I wonder how often it can be used in today's workplace. I have my doubts. Our souls are the cores of ourselves that exist and have worth regardless of anything that we do or are doing. They do need time to reconnect with our hardworking bodies. When we lose track of our souls, that's when we forget about our inherent worth and begin to think that our work, our doing, can help us regain that basic sense of who we are. We need to schedule periodic times of rest and renewal, times where we can experience what it is just to be by ourselves, with friends, family, and community. It's not easy to set aside this kind of time on a regular basis. Ritual and repetition do help. Even if the deep soul connection doesn't happen on every occasion, the regular practice of spending time just being can remind us that we value ourselves. UU Minister Elizabeth Tarbox describes the experience of going to the ocean just to be. I'm with the broken stubble of the marsh grass that holds on through the wrecking wind and the burning flood. I'm with the grains that mold themselves around everything, accepting even so unworthy a foot as mine, holding and shaping it until it feels that what I don't know ceases to embarrass me. What I do or don't do is of no moment now. Now I'm here and grateful to be touched, calmed, and healed by the immense pattern of the universe. Reassured, I am called back to my life, to another day. For me, it's usually easier to take time for being and not doing if I'm with someone else. The person's presence reminds me that it is worthwhile to spend this time with no end product in mind. On my own, the wealth of things that I feel I need to do comes spilling in, and it's difficult to shake them off. Another challenge I face is to keep my reconnection with soul time from being another form of work. The temptation is great to look for results, to wonder if I'm doing it correctly, to judge my ability to sit quietly, to want to improve my skills, to worry about spending too much time or too little. A short insertion here. Pat Kawunder, who teaches meditation, talks about looking at yourself and your breaks with meditation with grandmotherly kindness. The temptation is great to look for results, to wonder if I'm doing it correctly, to judge my ability, to sit quietly, to want to improve my skills, to worry about spending too much or too little time. In fact, the entire Old Testament creation story provides a wonderful model for valuing both the work that we do and the rest that reminds us who we fundamentally are. On each of the first 6 days, God works, creating amazing substances, bodies, and beings. At the end of each day, God surveys the accomplishments and pronounces them good. At the end of 6 days, God reviews all of creation and pronounces it very good. Then, on the 7th day, God rests and blesses that day and pronounces it holy because of the period of rest that it provided. I leave you with this parting message about the value of both work and rest in our lives. All of creation, including humanity, is good. Work itself is good, very good. And rest is holy.
Alec, I got locked out. One moment, please. Our closing hymn is number 16. "'Tis a gift to be simple," from the Gray Hymnal. Please feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you, and stand and embody your spirit and join us in singing hymn number 16, "'Tis a gift to be simple."
Tis the gift to be simple, tis the gift to be free, tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right. 'Tis the gift to be gentle, 'tis the gift to be fair, 'tis the gift to wake and with the morning air, and every day to walk in the path we choose. 'Tis the gift that we pray we may ne'er come to lose. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right.
May the love that gives to life its beauty, the reverence that gives to life its sacredness, and the purposes that give to life its deep significance be strong within each of us and lead us into ever deepening relationships with all of life. Amen. Namaste, and blessed be. Thank you, Bill, for sharing your valuable time and insights while reading with us this morning. It is sincerely appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you again. For those of you who would like to stay in the sanctuary for 10 to 15 minutes to share some discussion or observations from the service, please remain in the sanctuary or online. Please be aware that these comments will be posted online. For the rest of you, you are now welcome to adjourn into the parish hall. Now, would anyone like to come up and share their thoughts on today's reading? Walt?
For some reason, about 3 or 4 days ago, I got this wild rabbit desire to plant some new trees, which I haven't done for probably 6 or 8 years at my place. And I put in 2 peach trees and a plum tree, picturing that they would, this romantic notion that they would give me gobs of food and I would be bathing in fruit, which rarely happens. Most all my trees don't do that. Anyway, I dug 3 holes, was pleased that my body put up with it because I am supposedly a heart patient. I dug these deep holes and the person came out to deliver the trees, partly because I got 3 trees because I had to spend at least $200 before they deliver for free. So that's how I determined the 3 trees. Anyway, the guy comes out and places the trees in the mesh that I'd purchased. And he seemed very pleased to place the trees, place them fairly quickly in their holes. And I figured, then he abruptly, I was about to shake his hand, he abruptly turned and bailed very quickly. And I figured he had other trees to deliver, which is in line with the talk that he wanted to keep doing his work. But in reality, I think he passed by one of my 2 houses, the one that has the Bernie sign in it. And I don't think he was very happy. That's why I wanted to get out of there. He couldn't leave fast enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Walt. Any other comments on today's reading? Bill? Here or there? Here.
I would love at a future date to find out if Miss Bowers had written before some of the things that we have seen in today's society, where we have things like quiet quitting, which is the act of saying, I will do the work that I need to do to keep my job and not much more, not when you people keep asking extra of me and not providing me time or pay or bonuses of any type that will do this. I think that when we look at this idea of rest, I think that I've seen people looking at the idea of if you boost rest, then you can get back to working super fast. And then it's like the idea that says, no, how about the idea that says my rest is connected to what I'd like to be doing right now that isn't the job and will never become the job and will not make me faster. But if I don't have it, I'll break utterly. If I have it, I'll be okay. If I have exceptional rest, maybe I will come back stronger and faster, but there's no guarantee. I would really, like I said, I would like to know how much decay struck the working world due to overwork from the time Miss Bowers wrote this piece to the current day. This is a place where we're hurting very much as a people, where we're yelling at each other a lot and we're not getting rested up. We need to do something about this.
Thank you, Bill. We have another comment in the back. Would you like to come up to the pulpit? Would you like to come up to the mic? Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Casey, Mr. Casey, okay, a couple of things that you said that were just so spoke to me because I'm a very busy person and I've been thinking before I even came to this service that I've got to start being able to go back to my Woman's World magazine and some of the things I used to like to do, you know, even take care of the little things in my apartment that I just hadn't been doing because of the technology that's overwhelming me in my life. But anyway, it was just very nice what he said about, I don't have my glasses on, that's a problem. Let's see, Mr. Casey says just go to the ocean, go to, let's see, a walk in the ocean, something like that. At the 4:15. Oh, so it just gave, when you said, you know, go to the ocean and just be, you know, and that kind of spoke to me when I get together with some single people where I live, and it's kind of hard sometimes with them. So I just be when you get there to meet them, and then all creation, including humanity is good. Work is very good, and rest is holy. When you live a simple life, you don't have to be ashamed. That's what the Bible talks about that over and over and over again, and I got a lot of stuff out of that too. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Thank you. Yeah. Even the creator of the universe with like unlimited power took a day of rest. So that's saying something. Thank you. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you. That's for our maintenance crew. I think that's a compliment for the maintenance crew. Okay, was there anyone else who'd like to comment? Anybody online? No? Okay, so that concludes our service. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again. Thank you.